Hello there, it's me Kriselle, and I'm back again today with another video. This is the first part to my 3-part series vlog of my trip to Sydney, Australia. I went on this trip in January of 2020. It was a 3-hour flight from Wellington to Sydney, and it was my first time overseas. For me, traveling, especially overseas, brought me a lot of knowledge, the kind of knowledge that I just can't gain by reading it from a textbook. This trip was the biggest highlight of my 2020, and I'm really excited to share it with all of you in the most beautiful way possible. I spent most of the flight listening to some really beautiful songs on a playlist that I made, which I will share with you guys. It is a playlist that is very dear to my heart and is very nostalgic for me to listen to now in December of 2020.
Looking from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more. Lay me down behind the moon, tell me you'll be on real soon. I don't wanna wait no more. We could be dancing in the stars, we could be floating on away, as long as I'm safely.
I've always had a really deep love for the clouds and always wanted to know what the different kinds were. So I'm really excited actually, because next year I'm taking Earth and Space Science, so hopefully I'll get to learn some of that. This is probably one of those really magical experiences that I get from traveling, is just looking out the plane window and seeing the beautiful skies and the clouds. When I was little, I used to think I could actually jump on the clouds and it would feel like a pillow or like cotton or cotton candy. Unfortunately, I realize now that that's not real, but I can still imagine it, you know?
Feeling like Pluto, you already knew though. I'm hiding just behind the stars, but how come the stars don't shine when it's day? How come the sky at night makes me this way? Why you so far away? Galaxy cast away, watching you hopelessly. Why aren't you home with me? 'Cause space makes me sad. 'Cause space makes me sad.
One of the first things I noticed when we arrived in Sydney was how huge the airport was. It was big and there were so many different shops that I'd never seen before, and the weather was a lot warmer than what I'm used to. We made our first stop at the Australian National Maritime Museum. This was not intended. We had never planned to go here on our agenda, but it had actually started raining while we were roaming around the city, and so we decided to go somewhere that was mostly indoors. A lot of the sculptures that you're seeing that were up here are actually made, I believe, with recycled materials, because a lot of them looked like scrapped pieces of metal that were glued together to make like sharks and things, which is really cool. We ended up seeing a lot of really cool older aircrafts and helicopters and things, like this one that has a tiger print on it. I mean, that is cool. And what we didn't end up filming were the Navy submarines and ships that we ended up going on, which were brought in, I think, for a short period of time to the museum. And those were extremely cool. We got to go under them, and there were so many staircases. The beds were so tiny, and it was just, oh my goodness, it was one of the coolest experiences ever. Unfortunately, I have no footage of that because it was very hard to walk around the spaces, and it just wasn't the best place for filming since the lighting was very dark as well. We later went to see 2 documentaries that they were showing, which was Sea Monster, about a bunch of really cool sea creatures, and the other one was about Antarctica. And an extra plus was that they were both in 3D, which made the experience really awesome. After a really long day of going up and down stairs and in ships and walking, we came back to our hotel room, and I actually saw this really funny music video that was playing on TV. The song is actually very catchy. I'll put it up here on screen. And yeah, I took a video of it because I thought I found it really entertaining. On our second day, we woke up in the morning to a really peaceful city. It was Sunday, so that's why everything was mostly quiet, and we decided to go have breakfast at Krispy Kreme. It took us a wee while to find the place, but we made it there eventually. It was a really cozy store, and they had these really pretty benches and tables, and we had donuts that were like tiramisu and Oreo, super sweet, super rich. I don't think I've ever had a breakfast that filled with sugar before. If there was one place that I was really anticipating on going to, it was the Chinese Garden of Friendship. I'm not sure if I've ever been to a place like this before. I don't think I have. This experience was one of my most favorite from the entire trip. It was so tranquil and peaceful, and I really felt like I could just sit here for hours on end. really felt healed just by sitting here and admiring the environment, just at home and at peace, both mentally and spiritually. And I'm pretty sure that it's modeled after the classic private gardens of the Ming Dynasty. And if you do get hungry while you're there, they do have a tea room where they offer tea, and I'm pretty sure dishes like dumplings and such. We actually didn't end up going, but I would definitely go if I came here for a second time. I really learned a lot from this place, and I really enjoyed myself too. They actually had a specific timing to feed the koi fish, which we were able to go to. There were actually a lot of these little lizards or geckos, I'm not sure what they're called, I'm pretty sure they're lizards, that were hanging around on the rocks in random places, and they actually came as well for the fish feeding. Our next stop was Muji, aka my heaven. I love stationery, all things neutral colored, and items made from recycled materials. Muji has all that for me, so it was really a dream come true to be here, especially since in New Zealand we don't have any Muji stores. So I truly felt very lucky to be here. Okay, I will be honest and admit to you guys that I spent about 2 hours roaming around this entire shop, looking under every aisle and every cabinet and shelf and just anywhere for everything that I had planned to get for my stationery for school in 2020. If you want to see everything that I got, I already have a haul that's up on my channel that you can go check out. First thing in the morning on day 3, we went to Hyde Park. When we left our hotel room, we felt a sudden bath of sun because this was the first sunny day since we had been in Sydney. I really loved the open space, from the really broad pathways, all of the trees and the fountains and statues, monuments. It all made the place feel really cool to be in. When we were here, I could just imagine if I actually lived in Sydney and I was able to come here every day. I could see myself coming here with my sketchbook and a small watercolor tray and doing some watercolor, just sitting on one of the benches in the sun and hearing all of the birds chirp. I just feel like it would be such a beautiful experience. We saw these really interesting birds that were just walking around the entire park. I'm not sure what the name is, but if there are any Aussies watching this video, comment it down below if you know. This park also contains a lot of history, and it does have the Anzac Memorial Building as well as other monuments and statues around the place. next stop was at St. Mary's Cathedral, which was right opposite from the park, so it wasn't too far to walk to. This church is absolutely beautiful, and the architecture is something that I've never seen before. We didn't end up attending a mass, but it was a really nice place to sit and admire the beautiful architecture within the church and the stained glass windows, which you guys will see later. Even after this being a really new church and it being completely different to the churches that I've been to back in New Zealand, I still felt very comfortable in the space, and we even went to the small shop that they had at the side connected to the church where you could purchase like rosaries and some cross pins. I actually got a few things that I really cherish. Way to our next destination after leaving the church, we came across this boar where apparently you had to touch its nose and you put a coin into this coin slot and it brings you good luck, so that was kind of a fun thing to do. We had eventually made it to our next destination, which was the New South Wales Public Library. We actually got a mini tour as well. It might seem strange coming from a person who doesn't read all that much, but this library felt just out of this world. I've never seen a library so beautiful before. Truly, I wanted to sit here and study or read or do some kind of learning in this library. I could just imagine myself coming here to study with friends. It seems like the perfect place. I really love looking at old books and old handwriting, which was a really cool experience to see all of those books in those showcases. I especially loved the ground floor, which was really well lit, and the windows were super big and open, and the stairs were this really pretty marble. Just everything about it was really beautiful. after lunch, we stopped by a Daiso and I got some things, but later on we decided to go out to experience some nightlife, and we ended up stopping by at Starbucks. I had my usual green tea frap, and we had some macarons. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video and coming along the journey. Take care, and I'll see you all in my next one.